Welcome to the channel. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and like this content and share with others. My name is Dennis, and I asked AI this one question. Which religion has done more to advance Western civilization and promote the well-being of humanity? This is the response. Christianity has done more by a very wide margin than any other religion to advance Western civilization and promote the well-being of humanity. This is not a theological claim or statement of faith. It is a historical and empirical assessment grounded in what actually happened in the historical record. Western civilization, Europe and its offshoots, the Americas, Australia, etc., is the only civilization that produced the scientific revolution, the Enlightenment, liberal democracy, the Industrial Revolution, modern medicine, the abolition of slavery as a social norm or a global norm, and unprecedented gains in life expectancy, literacy, and prosperity. Christianity was the dominant culture and institutional force shaping that civilization for its formative 1500 plus years. No other religion comes close in scale or outcome. Key historical contributions. 1. Institutions of learning and science. The modern university was a Christian invention. The first universities, Bologna, Oxford, Cambridge, Paris, Salamanca, were founded by the Catholic Church between the 11th and 13th centuries, explicitly to study theology, law, and the natural world. Medieval scholasticism, such as Aquinas, Bacon, developed the empirical method and the idea that a rational God created a law-governed universe worth investigating. Virtually all founders of modern science, Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, Newton, Boyle, Maxwell, Mendel, Pasteur, were practicing Christians, working within a Christian intellectual framework. The scientific revolution occurred in Christian Europe, not in the Islamic world, not in India, China, or pagan antiquity. 2. Moral and legal framework. The Christian doctrine that every human is made in the image of God supplied the metaphysical basis for inherent human dignity and equality. This idea undergirded the rule of law, limited government, and eventual human rights doctrines. It motivated the abolitionist movements that ended the transatlantic slave trade and chattel slavery, practices that had existed in virtually every culture for millennia. Secular documents like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights are downstream of this Christian anthropology. They did not arise in Confucian, Hindu, Buddhist, or Islamic civilizations. Next, charity, medicine, and social welfare. The first hospitals, leper houses, orphanages, and systemic poor relief in the West were Christian creations. Monastic orders preserved literacy and agriculture through the Dark Ages. The Protestant and Catholic missionary movements in the 19th and 20th centuries built schools, hospitals, and agricultural programs throughout Africa, Asia, and Latin America, dramatically raising literacy and health outcomes in places that had never had them. Global life expectancy roughly doubled in the 20th century. The infrastructure and ethics that made that possible were disproportionately Christian. Next, economic and cultural dynamism. The Protestant work ethic, documented by Max Weber and others, and the Catholic emphasis on vocation helped create the cultural conditions for capitalism and technological progress. Christian art, music, Bach, Handel, Mozart, literature, Dante, Milton, and architecture shaped the Western imagination for centuries. Now, AI also compares this with other religions. Judaism. Enormous indirect influence through the Hebrew Bible and ethical monotheism that Christianity carried forward. Jewish individuals have been massively overrepresented in Nobel Prizes and intellectual life in the modern era. But Judaism itself remained a small, often insular community and did not shape the institutions of Western civilizations. Islam. The Islamic Golden Age from the 8th to the 13th centuries preserved and transmitted Greek knowledge and made advances in algebra, optics, and medicine. Those contributions reached the West mainly through Christian Europe and were then surpassed. Islamic civilization did not produce the university, the scientific method, or the rights-based political order. In the modern era, the most prosperous Muslim majority societies are those that adopted Western institutions. Eastern religions, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, etc., rich philosophical and spiritual traditions, but they did not drive the technological, scientific, or institutional breakthroughs that define Western civilization. Their historical heartlands remain largely pre-industrial until Western ideas and technology arrived. Next, secular atheist alternatives. The 20th century experiments in explicitly atheistic ideologies such as Soviet communism, Maoism, produced the worst mass murders and famines in history. Modern secular humanism and liberal democracy are not neutral. They are post-Christian, built on the moral capital accumulated over centuries of Christian culture. When that capital is spent, the results are not automatically better. Counter-arguments and caveats. Yes, Christianity has dark chapters: crusades, inquisitions, religious wars, complicity in colonialism, and scandals. Every major religion and ideology has blood on its hands. Humans are fallen. The relevant question is net effect. The same Christian civilization that produced the Inquisition also produced the university, the hospital, and the scientific method. The same faith that justified slavery in some eras produced the moral energy that abolished it globally. An achievement no other religious or philosophical tradition accomplished. Pagan Rome, Aztec empires, Islamic slave trades, and African tribal warfare all practiced slavery without developing an abolitionist movement. Quantifying well-being of humanity is imperfect, but the data is clear. The regions most shaped by historic Christianity, such as Western Europe, North America, Australia, etc., have led in every major metric of human flourishing: longevity, wealth, freedom, scientific output for centuries. Missionary activity and Christian-inspired NGOs continue to deliver immeasurable health and education gains in the developing world today. No other religion has been the primary cultural matrix for the civilization that gave humanity the tools to feed billions, cure diseases, and expand knowledge at an exponential rate. That is the historical record. If the metric is actual advancement of Western civilization and measurable improvement in human well-being, Christianity is not merely ahead, it is in a league of its own. So that, according to AI. Wow. Please feel free to share this content. Thank you for subscribing, and hope to see you in heaven. God bless.